Hey guys, and welcome to your daily mobility flow ankle edition. Ankles are really important. They're one of your joints and they matter. When I was in college, actually, most of my professors studied the ankle, and I, as a 19-year-old kid, was like, why don't you guys do something important with your lives? Who cares about the ankles? But the longer that I've coached people professionally, especially athletes, the more and more important I've realized the ankle joint is, because that first joint up from the ground, if it has a limited range of motion, every other joint, knee, hip, even the shoulder, can make up for that limited range of motion. So we are going to stretch and mobilize your ankles today. So get where I am. Bottom of a squat, your heels don't have to be on the ground. We're gonna put all your pressure on one side, ball your foot down, heel is kind of up in the air, and we're gonna push your knee down toward the ground. We're gonna start by focusing on mobilizing the ankle rather than stretching the calf, okay? People think ankle mobility and then go straight into, oh, I need to stretch my calves. We're gonna work back and forth, so I'm just gonna pivot to the other side. If you need something to hang on to while you do this, that's totally fine. I like to rock from my big toe kind of inside, roll out to the outside towards my pinky toe, and then switch and kind of work back and forth. But I'm pushing my knee down towards the ground and working that ankle open. So we're focused mostly on two things. One, the structure of your ankle anatomy, and then also on the actual Achilles and the ligament going on there, limiting our mobility more so than the calf muscle. It's easy to get obsessed with the belly of the muscle as we think about mobility, and that's just only part of the equation. You can stretch out that muscle belly, the gastroc, the soleus, but it's not necessarily going to make all the difference if you're not working on the Achilles and the structure of the ankle. So I'm trying to close the angle of my foot to my shin and get that smaller. That's the goal here, working back and forth. In fact, I do this before every squat session, especially if I'm in a more Olympic style squat. I'm gonna put the bar on my knee and let that barbell push that knee down towards the ground. We're gonna start here. Okay, we're gonna fold forward and sit back on your feet now. We're gonna work the ankle the other way. So I'm kind of leveraging it into plantar flexion now by sitting back on it. And we're just gonna work back and forth here a couple of times. So I'm gonna sit back into the squat, kind of rock from side to side, and then shift by sitting back on my feet and pushing my ankles the other way into plantar flexion. I don't know that there's any real evidence of, increasing plantar flexion or your toes pointing away from you. I don't know there's any evidence that in and of itself will also increase dorsiflexion, but I've had really, really good results with it personally and with athletes by focusing on both sides of the ankle instead of just one, and trying to mobilize the ankle joint as a whole rather than just force more dorsiflexion at the ankle. So it's really been useful for me. Also, more plantar flexion, given that more plantar flexion doesn't mean less dorsiflexion. More plantar flexion would really help with a lot of athletic things like sprinting or jumping, because you're going to be able to create a longer force contact with the floor when you jump or when you sprint. It's going to give you more time to put your force down into the ground, which means you can create more power. Okay, we're going to roll from this over to your butt. Your quads maybe even be burning with all that stuff, but nothing wrong with that. We're going to work more of the gastroc now and the soleus. So I'm going to start with my knee bent. I'm going to grab my toe and I'm going to pull my toe up towards my shin. So I'm creating dorsiflexion by pulling up. I'm even turning my anterior tib on. So I'm literally squeezing that muscle as we go. And I'm gonna hold, and I'm gonna slowly straighten my leg. And I'm gonna feel the calf stretch. As long as I keep tension on the ankle, that calf is gonna stretch out. So I'm gonna work through that range of motion. Go to that point where it gets pretty uncomfortable, and then come back, get rid of tension, reset the ankle, and then go from there. If the front of your shin starts to burn, your tibialis anterior, that means you're working it, and I like that. Keep working it. Try to stay on. You know, there's two things that create motion in a joint or resist motion in a joint, let's say. So if I want more dorsiflexion, I need to work on the joint on both sides. The calves back here, all this jelly back here, if they're tight, they're gonna limit my ankle's ability to go into dorsiflexion. But similarly, let's change sides. From an active standpoint, if my tibialis anterior, or I like to say anterior tib because it's simpler, if this muscle is weak, that's the muscle that literally creates dorsiflexion. So it doesn't matter how loose my calves are. If I'm really weak in the front of the shin, I'm gonna have a really hard time creating the dorsiflexion that I want. So I like to turn that muscle on, add in a little assistance, keep firing front of the shin, and then work that joint open. So the calves cross the ankle and the knee joint, which is why when we set the ankle into flexion or dorsiflexion, both directions of the ankle are flexion, which is not the same with every other joint. At the elbow, this is flexion and this is extension. Flexion, extension. At the ankle, they're both flexions. I didn't make the rules, I just follow them. But if we create dorsiflexion with the ankle and then we straighten the knee, the reason that stretches the calf is because the calves cross the knee joint and they assist in, you guessed it, knee flexion. So when I put them into extension, they stretch. Knee extension, stretch, knee flexion, contraction. One more rep. Squeeze. All right, I lied. One more rep. Set it. Push. Oh, it burns so good. It burns so good. Okay. For this last part, you're gonna need to stand up, and we're going to more static stretch both of your calves. I actually don't have a wonderful way of doing this in here, so I'm gonna do it right there. But you're just gonna have to watch, and I'll try to keep my head in the frame, and we're gonna static stretch your calves and your Achilles. So what I'm gonna do here is prop my toe up at an angle. I'm gonna sit back, get my toe as close to the edge as I can, dorsiflexion, and then I'm gonna walk my hips forward and create a stretch in the calf muscle. And we're gonna hang out here for about 30 seconds. Go. All right, let's change sides. So I'm gonna sit back, prop the toe up, heel into the ground, and then I'm gonna walk my hips forward until I get that stretch in the calves. Okay, go ahead and rest. The final thing we're gonna do is a little bit more ankle oriented. So we're gonna set the same heel, but now I'm gonna drive my knee towards my foot, and I'm gonna get a little bigger stretch in the Achilles by doing this. So my knee is bent and I'm pushing my knee towards my toe. And the other side. Prop it up, pin the heel, draw the knee towards the foot. And rest. If your shins are on fire, that's good. That means you finally worked your anterior tib and it's gonna get stronger. I would highly recommend keep working your anterior tib. Heel walks even, like walk around only on your heels to strengthen your anterior tib is really, really, really useful. We do a lot of those with our athletes as well. So anyways, ooh, that feels good. We should have done testing and retesting today. Look at that. Look at that dorsiflexion. That's a good angle right there. Look at that. Heel still on the ground. That, my friends, is ankle mobility. If yours doesn't look like that, I highly recommend you do this a couple times a week. But either way, that's your daily mobility flow, and that felt incredibly productive. Man, this is one of my favorite videos so far, and if you're here to hear it, drop me a little comment. Let me know you stay till the end. I would greatly appreciate it. And this video came because somebody asked for it. So if you have something you want to work on, put it in the comments as well, and we'll get after it. That's your daily mobility flow, and I will see you guys in a couple days. Later.